Uveka, the 2013 accident in which 24 people were killed was one of the worst that people in Durban and I think across the country had seen for a long time, and particularly in recent history. There was a young driver, Swazi national, Sanele May, who was driving the truck for a company called Sagecal Logistics, and he'd been returning from Joburg when he lost control of the truck and plowed into a taxi and some other vehicles, and there was a massive loss of life on that night rather. And ever since then, Sanele May has developed quite a following, particularly on Facebook and social media, and there were many people who had come out saying that Sanele May shouldn't actually be the only one who's in trouble for what had happened on that night. He's actually serving a term at the moment, 8 years for culpable homicide. But for many who had been supporting Sanele May, this is actually what they've been waiting for. They've been waiting for the owner of Sagecal Logistics, Gregory Governor, to have his day in court. And he's appeared already. He's been charged, he appeared in July actually, and he's been charged with operating unroadworthy vehicles as well as contravening the Immigration Act, because Sanele May was in the country illegally at the time. In fact, he just gotten the job at Sagecal Logistics about 2 days before the terrible accident.
Now, Deson, looking at Gregory Governor and the charges against him, what has he had to say, if anything, since this accident happened and since he's been taken to court?
In fact, Gregory Governor has come out before saying that the Fields Hill accident had ruined him and ruined his business. And in fact, on many occasions, he claimed that all of his vehicles were always roadworthy and that he'd never received even so much as a fine from the traffic department. But after the accident, there were attempts by the transport department to actually go into his business, and they'd gone there to test his vehicles, and they found that some of his vehicles were actually not roadworthy. In fact, the Fields Hill truck as well was also found to have had certain deficiencies when it came to its braking system and so forth. But at this point, Gregory Governor is still maintaining that he in fact is not responsible. He's also suffered quite a few losses since the accident. In fact, his business is on the verge of liquidation at the moment. That case is pending in the High Court because there are certain companies that Sagecal Logistics owes money to.
Deson, do we know, I mean, are legal experts saying anything about, depending on the outcome here with this case or these charges against Gregory Governor, whether that will have any impact on Sanele May and the sentence that he is serving? Could it be that it could ultimately be found that it wasn't completely his fault and that he may be let off the hook on some level if Gregory Governor is found guilty?
There's no word on that just yet, Uveka. In fact, it's still very early stages. The last court appearance in which Gregory Governor was at the Verulam Magistrate's court, that was a postponement, and it's very likely that there will also be a postponement today. That's what we understand, because the defense team was actually awaiting documents from the state outlining their charges, which they've received yesterday, in fact. So today might be little more than just the acceptance of those documents, but we will wait to see how the case proceeds and if and when it eventually does get to trial.
Thanks very much. That's Deson outside the Verulam Magistrate's Court for us this morning.